What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, I know I said yesterday it was probably gonna be my last video for the weekend because Labor Day and I'm going out of town and everything, but I had to play Starfield last night. Even though I had a super emergency of the vehicular variety, not Traley Bailey, she's fine, don't worry, it's another vehicle. So I had to go and help fix that situation. But anyway, it cut into my Starfield time, basically. I lost an hour of Starfield playing to that, but that's fine because when I got back to get to it, bam, Starfield's ready to go. Anyway, so I played about 2.5 hours of Starfield so far, which is really nothing. You know, that's not even the intro. I haven't even gotten to New Atlantis yet. That's how I'm just about, I need to go to New Atlantis, basically. So I'm like, I did the moon mission after the first mission. After I got the first artifact thingy. This is all within the first little bit, so I'm not really super spoiling anything. It's just like a setup, basically. And so I was like, all right, I kind of like this. And so what I will say about it, first and foremost, I know a lot of people, my main gripe with a lot of Bethesda games back in the day, whether it's Oblivion, Skyrim, Fallout, all of them, their human characters were always stilted and the animation sucked and they were horrible and it always bothered me. It bothered me to no end. I was like, man, if these were better, the game would be better, blah, 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 right? So like when Todd Howard said, yeah, we did some improvements and changes to the animation systems and blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right. Yeah, they did, because I was paying attention and I was looking at them. I was looking at the characters. I was looking at how they move, how they animate. And I'm like, yo, I would say the only problem with what the characters look like is basically their skin texture. They're too smooth, basically. And I don't know if that has to do with how they're doing GI, global illumination or what, but, and some characters look better than others, you know, but for the most part, as far as animation and just like, you know, it's 1,000% better. You go look at their old games and how it's just like robotic and stilted, looks like freaking Chuck E. Cheese playing. And then you look at this and it's like, oh, they're actually emoting and you see their eyebrows and everything is moving naturally. It looks really good. So that's one thing that I am so glad that they kind of fixed. I think there still can be improvements, like I said, in the actual texture work of the skin, but as far as the animation and stuff and the character creator is like super dope. I'm like, yo, this is good too, man. They're doing that thug thizzle. But anyway, so I'm playing it and the gunplay, I mean, I'm brand new, right? So what I've heard from people, they said that the gunplay improves as you obviously use guns and improve. That's how these games work. The more you use it, the better it gets. So that's something that I have to keep going. But just right off the jump on controller, it's pretty good. I'm not having any like type of issues as far as like how it feels and stuff. But I don't have the jump jet. I don't have that. I don't have, you know, there's a lot of stuff I don't have that would probably enhance the gunplay. But that's fine because I'm not here for the gunplay, but I am going through all the motions to feel out all the systems. Now the ship, flight and combat, I was slightly confused about the UI in that it's the map. So you go out to the, I guess the system view, goes out and it shows you the star and the planets. And then there's another button that you press, like if you're on the planet, there's another button that you press and you can do a topographical map. And it says it on the screen, but it's not inherently intuitive because it's like a zoom out and you press the same button basically. I think that's how it works. I don't remember. But I did it once by accident. I was like, wait, how did I get to here? And then I was trying to figure it out. And then I said, oh, there it is. And then I did it. So the UI I don't know if it's not bad, but I think it's so different from their other games that it's like, oh, you know, how's this gonna work? Like the skill tree is a skill tree or whatever. I've heard a lot of people complain about the inventory system, and yeah, I guess the encumbrance also. Gary Whitta was talking about that. I want to talk about Gary Whitta for a second. Yeah, I got encumbered right away because unlike every other game on the planet, Bethesda games do this and no other game does this. At least not to my knowledge. You could pick up everything. I was in there, they had the food trays, paper, notepads, just blank notepads, not even like books, and books, food, canned meats, all kinds of pencils, everything. I was like, I don't even need any of this. And then when I kill people, I take all this stuff. I'm like, blah, 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 give me. And that's why I was encumbered, because I took everything. So I'm complaining about, oh man, why am I encumbered? And so is everybody else, because their inclination is to take everything. And realistically, I think you probably have enough spaces. I think it's 145 weight, I guess is weight, to begin with. And then you do the weightlifting perk and stuff, and then you get more, obviously. Get more weight, abilities or whatever. But Gary Whitta, I want to talk about Gary Whitta for a second. Before I get into Gary Whitta, I would like to say that I like Gary Whitta. I like his personality for the most part. I love Rogue One. He wrote that. He wrote a lot of things that make us as nerds, gamers, geeks, whatever you want, Star Wars fans, happy. He also wrote, or co-wrote, Forspoken, which he doesn't say. He never says that he's done that. I think he said it once or twice when the game was coming out. I haven't heard him say anything about it because that game was like, oh. Nobody likes that game. So he's here criticizing the characters, the characterization. Oh, the dialogue is flat, or he had a lot of critiques about the characters, the dialogue, and the actual performance, the acting. And I'm like, Gary Whitta, yes, you wrote Rogue One. That was great. Yes, you've written a lot of things that were good. You also wrote a hot piece of trash garbage game, co-wrote, that was called Forspoken. Now, I don't know who wrote the bracelet, who wrote the characters of Homegirl and the bracelet, because that's where the main contention lies, is those two characters, mainly her. Well, it's both of them. Honestly, the bracelet sounds like Gary Whitta straight up, but I don't know. I can't say if he wrote any of that, then he has no business talking about, oh, this is bad and this is good and all that stuff, right? But we can only speculate. But I'm just saying, your track record isn't 100%. Like I said, I like Gary Whitta. He's done some good work. Also, not so good work. Everybody has their down days, their bad days. So that is that. But that's the one thing I had to say about that. But also, I want to talk about Dan Stapleton. Dan Stapleton was the person who reviewed Starfield for IGN America. As I understand it, Dan Stapleton may possibly be a pony, donkey unicorn. I'm not sure, but there is a picture of him on the internet of him in Kratos makeup. Now you could take that as you will. Does that denote fandom? Yes. Fanboyisms? Possibly. I'm just saying. There are many people that work at IGN. Why would you get a pony, allegedly, to review a not exclusive game, an unexclusive for the PlayStation? Why would you get them to review an Xbox exclusive game, console exclusive? Why? And they would probably say, oh, well, he's the expert in Skyrim and Bethesda RPGs, and yeah, that's why. But you negate the fact that he's a pony / donkey unicorn. That's going to skew. He's biased. Let's call it as it is. This is like the third strike for IGN. Dan Stapleton gave the game a 7. Now, here's my problem with that. I recognize quality, good game, all these things, right? So I look at the plethora of PlayStation exclusives, right? You go through them. You go Horizon 1 and 2, Spider-Man 1 and 1.5, God of War 1 and 1.5, all the games, all the good, Uncharted, Last of Us, all those, right? Me as an Xbox fan will say this unequivocally, I don't know if it's a you or I, none of those games are a 7. None of those games are like, I would say not even an 8, 8.5 the lowest. Because I recognize quality, even though I may not agree with the writing, and I'd be like, the writing wasn't all that good, but the effort and talent it takes to make these games look the way they do, perform the way they do on these systems and on these consoles, on this hardware, automatically gets that type of score because it's a technical achievement. And I recognize that. Regardless if I like the game, the character, the writing, music, blah, blah, blah. I still recognize the technical achievement of those games. Therefore, it gets an 8. It gets 8, 8.5. But Dan Stapleton didn't see that. He doesn't see that. And so he is using his bias to lower or negate or just straight up ignore the technical achievement that is Starfield. How big it is. How many hours did he even play? I didn't even read his review. I was like, look, this guy, really? Starfield was at a 91. It's sitting at an 88 the last time I checked. I had to check it again. Maybe it popped up a little bit more. Who knows? I'm not too sure. But, you know, that's another L for IGN. And you look at the other IGN sites, Brazil and I don't know where else, Spain or whatever, they gave it 9s and 10s. So it's not a company-wide problem. There are literally ponies and donkey unicorns, individual people within the organization that are kind of ruining the reputation of IGN. I mean, there's many things that are happening over there that's ruining it. Maybe Dan Stapleton was in charge of that other stuff too. That's why that happened. And besides that, you know, the ruining of their reputation, I would say that Dan Stapleton, because now people know his name. I mean, I've heard of him before, but now I know him as the reviewer of Starfield that gave the game a 7 that it doesn't deserve a 7. You know, that game is high quality, higher. It's in a higher league than a 7. It's not a 7. It's an 8.5 at least, or 8, if you want to be cruel. But I would say that his reputation, if it's not harmed irreparably right now, he's on that road. So if you want to harm your reputation more, and IGN, if you want to help in that, give him some more Xbox games, Xbox exclusives to review, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, so anything he writes, I don't care. I'm not listening to him because he obviously doesn't. And it's not about like, he's not a fan, so I disagree with him, or he doesn't think like I do or like the same games I do. I don't think. No, I'm looking at this objectively as a piece of software, a game that runs on Xbox/PC. I'm looking at it. I played it on Xbox Series. I played it on the worst possible machine, technically. I mean, there are some PCs that are probably worse, but you know, I played it on the S, and it was smooth butter, no bugs, nothing, no frame hitches, no nothing. I'm like, man, this is how you make a game. So, yeah, I'm like, the more and more that IGN is doing this tomfoolery and stuff, the more I am just like, I don't really, I'm really starting to just like bounce away from them because it's not even worth it. It's not worth wasting my time with these people because they're not giving me anything of worth. You know, it's all just fanboy. Let's help Sony stay number one, basically. You know, that's the main thing. You know, CMA, IGN, they're the same entity, different roles, same thing, same attitude, same goals. And so, you know, I'm like, you know, why bother? Why bother with people or entities that are just don't make sense. You know, you're wasting my time with your foolishness. You know, and time is money. And like I said before, I think it was in a previous video, I understand what they're doing because they are running a business that is based off of traffic and clicks, and they have to appease their giant audience of ponies and donkey unicorns, and that's the short of it. I wish they were better. I wish IGN was a better company. I wish they were a better news outlet, but they're not. So I will find my news and my information in other places. And I'm probably gonna unsubscribe to their podcast feeds because I'm listening to it and I was like, y'all are not saying nothing. Maybe I'll stay with podcast, but I think they're all on one feed, so I can't even do that. They used to have separate feeds for every. Well, actually, I think they are. No, I think they are separate feeds. So yeah, I think I'm gonna unsubscribe to Beyond. I'll still subscribe to that because it was funny. And I'm glad I stayed because they did make fun of Sony last time. That was pretty good. But you know, this is the state of video games right now. A banger game is coming out. Got an 87, 88 for now. Like I said, I gotta look at the new score or what the updated score is. And you know, Donkey Unicorns and Ponies, they're so butthurt that they can't recognize that this is a good game because they don't have it on their plastic box. You know, I mean, when will they learn, or when will they grow up? When will they realize that games are games, and you should be rooting for every good game, a game that deserves praise, to be successful, because that in turn creates an environment for these publishers and these developers to keep making them, to invest more, to take chances to make better games. Instead, Sony is doing the same thing over and over again and playing it safe. And you see what's happening there over at PlayStation. Jim Ryan is destroying PlayStation, you know, and that's what's up. I don't see why the ponies and donkey unicorns can't see unicorns. They can't see that. They can't see Jim Ryan. I mean, they probably see it. They're just in denial. So, and they don't care. I mean, the price raising was 33%, 40%, and I forgot what. Well, it was from 60 to 80, 100 to 135, and 120 to 160. The different tiers on PlayStation Plus. And I'm like, and y'all ain't getting nothing. And y'all, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna say? I heard that MBG was actually criticizing that. So you know it's bad when ponies are starting to flip. This is a super important part, a super important moment in this generation right now, because all the moves that Sony is making are bad for customers, for the PlayStation brand, all these things. They're good for investors because it makes them money, and that's Jim Ryan's job, is to make the investors money, and that's what he's doing. Meanwhile, he's destroying PlayStation. He's destroying the fan base, which is, you know, whatever. And so ponies and donkey unicorns like MBG, who used to be Xbox, are seeing what's happening and they don't like it. And so I'm going to predict that MBG is going to flip back, or he's going to be he's probably on the verge of being a pony bot at this point. But I think he's going to flip back to Xbox, honestly, because you look at the lineup, you look at what Sony's doing, PlayStation, and it's like, you know, it's only like 2 games, Spider-Man 2, which is whatever, and Wolverine, which is unproven. So I don't think Wolverine's going to be that good. Y'all think it might, but I don't think it's going to be that good. I think Insomniac's burnt out. Basically, they've been making the same game from 3 Spider-Man games in 5 years. That's too fast. That's a year and a half per game. That means it's just an expansion basically, and they're charging full price for games. This is Sony's new model. Anyway, I'm sorry, that was a tangent. We were supposed to be talking about Starfield. And everybody, and honestly, September 1st or August 31st, September 1st, I guess that's today. It's a new holiday. It's Starfield Day. So every September 1st, like, happy Starfield Day. What are you doing? It's been a year since it launched. What are you doing? You know. So I'll probably play a little bit today. I got to pack because I'm going out of town, but you know, it's all good. I'll get some more in on Monday, but Starfield's here. It's the beginning of the end for PlayStation, and the beginning of the beginning for Xbox. And I remember I said that this generation will be very interesting and entertaining, but more interesting, and it is. So, but once again, I appreciate y'all hanging out and like, subscribe. Go in the comments below. Let me know if you playing Starfield. Where you at? How many hours you put in so far? What did you? How'd you spec? What did I? I know I took the alien DNA, and I was a explorer. I'm an explorer. I took that one because I was like, honestly, I'm gonna be an explorer. I mean, I want to shoot fools and stuff, and and do all those things. But I was looking at it, I was like, oh, but I want to build ships too. So I don't know. I mean, there'll be, I'll figure out a way to upgrade my stuff, but it's all good. But anyway, and let me know in the comments below about all those things, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Till the wait.